which is the fourth element of our relationship. Now, the fourth element in the area of trade and in the area of travel and other interaction between Taiwan and Japan. The visa-free policy that was implemented a few years ago has brought our people closer together by making travel and engagement much more convenient. And I thought this was a wonderful arrangement between the two places, because it's so easy to travel to Japan. You pick up your passport and you book your flight and you are in Japan in the next few hours. So, and with this arrangement, I think many Japanese visitors to Taiwan will realize that there is no other place in the world where Japanese soft power is so evident. In culture, in sports, in business practices, in entertainment, in food, in technology, and so forth. Likewise, Taiwan also seeks to develop our global visibility through soft power and public diplomacy. The Taiwanese people are extremely diligent and creative. And when in government, we will work to foster an environment where our films, music, culture, and products or invention can also be enjoyed by Japanese people as much as possible. Now, I wish to turn to cross-strait policy because Bill mentioned that it is of major interest to many people here in Japan and among the press community as well. Now, although I know it is much more appropriate for me to focus on Taiwan-Japan relations and our election on this occasion, as I said, you may ask questions about cross-strait, so I might as well give you a brief with the time, limited time available. The goal of managing the relationship with China is to maintain a peaceful and stable environment so that the Taiwanese people can have the opportunity to develop a prosperous economy while preserving the hard-won political freedoms and way of living. Ultimately, we want to ensure that the right to determine Taiwan's future rests in the hands of the people of Taiwan. And any change of the status quo must be agreed by the people of Taiwan through democratic means. Our desire is to maintain peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. And it is not only a commitment to the people of Taiwan, it is also our responsibility to the region. We believe the most realistic way forward is to reach a strategic understanding that recognizes differences while also allows for the pursuit of common interests. And if you happen to know the Chinese language, I would say it in Chinese, that is 和而不同，和而求同. I know that the Beijing insists, we acknowledge that Beijing insists on the one China principle as its fundamental position towards Taiwan. However, Beijing must also understand the reality that the Taiwanese people, having gone through the historical processes of freeing themselves from foreign rules and seeking democratization, they are actually opposed to a one-party system and committed to upholding their sovereignty. The distinct position, the two distinct positions, however, should not prevent the two sides from reaching a mutually beneficial arrangement where we can also pursue common interests. Many common interests in peace and development. The DPP, as Taiwan's first major native political party, is committed to defending Taiwan's hard-earned democratic system and political freedoms. as well as the right of the Taiwanese people to determine their future. Democracy is not only an ideology. It is a way of life and a constitutional obligation. Any president of Taiwan is bound by its constitutional obligation. Thus, I have proposed a consensus-building process that is inclusive and democratic to form a stronger foundation for engaging with China. One must recognize that any precondition for dialogue across the Taiwan Strait is not transparent and not in line with the democratic consensus of the Taiwanese people, while will not be sufficient to deal with the complexities of the relationship. So any basis for the cross-strait dealings has to be consensus-based and has to be formed in a transparent manner. I also believe that an approach that is backed by a democratic consensus-building process representing the mainstream views of the Taiwanese people will be much more stable and consistent in the long term. We're not naive about the existing differences across the strait, but I believe if there's a will, there's a way. As long as both sides are sincere about building a peaceful and stable framework for interaction. The current cross-strait stalemate is a product of the evolution of history, but the future of the relationship does not have to be a zero-sum scenario. I'm willing to work with the leaders of Beijing to seek a mutually beneficial, wise, and responsible way to move forward in the common interest of peaceful development. There's no doubt that the Chinese are watching our elections closely. In the past, attempts to intervene in our elections have backfired. Observers or interested parties must have confidence in Taiwan's democracy, in the people's decision. There are many factors that influence the outcome of an election. And measuring the outcome of Taiwan's election as an indicator of the success or failure of a single policy on the part of China runs into the danger of miscalculation. I urge the Chinese leadership to better understand what elections mean for the people of Taiwan and exercise greater flexibility and caution that will enable positive engagement with whoever that is elected in Taiwan next year. In fact, domestic, social, and economic issues have been dominating the campaign this time. Like in Japan, public anxieties over economy, jobs, income disparities, and social services require urgent attention. Also like Japan, the issue of nuclear safety and the future of our energy policy will also be significant in the upcoming public policy debates. On this matter, the DPP has announced our goal of phasing out nuclear energy by the year 2025. This would require a massive effort and commitment to create the infrastructure for alternative and renewable energy sources. I believe this is an important area where our two countries can engage, jointly developing the technology and investment opportunities in the green energy sector. These public policy issues will continue to be highlighted in the coming months throughout the elections. Our goal is to convince the Taiwanese people that the DPP is more forward-looking in our policies, that we are more accountable and responsive to the needs of the people, and that we are more competent and able to govern. Over the years, the DPP has matured along with our democracy. Our 8 years of experience in government and the 3 years of reflection and hard working since 2008 have prepared us for the opportunity to come back to government again. It has not been easy to rebuild the trust of the people, but step by step we have done so. Polls indicate that we are now neck and neck with the governing party. So the outcome is expected to be a very close race. But some things are for sure. That is, our people's faith in the democratic system remains very strong. DPP's supporters are both passionate and pragmatic, and our campaign team is unified and diligent. I'm therefore confident that in just over 3 months, Taiwan will produce its first woman president. My victory will be a demonstration of the progressiveness and openness of Taiwan society. And we will cherish the people's support and confidence by exercising responsible leadership and accountable government. Thank you. I look forward to any questions or remarks or comments that you may have. Thank you.